And we are live. Hey everyone, happy Sunday.
Hello.
Welcome. welcome to Moms for Trans Kids podcast. Me llamo Doctora Lulu. Yes, my name is Dr. Lulu. I'm a pediatrician, life coach, gender and sexuality life coach, mom of a trans kid, and two other rambunctious humans who I call my children. Welcome. Oh my God, today's going to be amazing. We already have so many people joining us from Instagram. Anna, Saki, Jen, the real Amore. Oh my God, a lot of people are joining us already. Thank you all so much. Please tap the little triangle at the bottom of this your screen on Instagram and share the show because we are going to have an amazing time today. My name is Dr. Lulu. Yes. Welcome. Happy Sunday. We are joined today by my co-host and my co-mama beast, Kimmy. What's up, Kimmy?
Hey, good to see you both. Glad to be here. So I'm Kimmy. I am Dr. Lulu's hype girl. Officially. I think officially. I'm going to make it official.
Yes.
I'm also a mama beast of two kids. Sorry, I'm choking.
Okay. Take your time. It's live. This happens live.
This is how it goes. Why don't we introduce our guest?
Yes. Okay. So, and today it's a first. I think every Sunday we have a first. Today we have an amazing first. I've never been close enough to a beauty queen. What more, a black beauty queen. What more, a black transgender beauty queen. And we'll talk about how we met in a minute. But her name is Chelsea Paige Moses. And Chelsea, thank you for saying yes to doing this work, for saying yes to staying, for saying yes to living, for saying yes to coming and gracing our show. Let me tell you, I don't take it lightly at all. So you all, everyone, please bring your confetti, your flowers, everything, and let's welcome Miss Chelsea to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lulu, for having me, and thank you, Kim, as well. It's a pleasure being here to speak on just life and what's going on in my life, a beauty queen's life. But hey, I'm here, and I thank you all for having me.
Yes, I've never been around a beauty queen before, but I am. So Kim is back because
I'm back. I'm done choking on my water.
Queen Kim is back from choking.
I bring the real. It happens. So Chelsea, it's so good to meet you. Just a little bit of background, I guess, for our guests and for our viewers. But so I'm a mama beast of two kids. I've got an oldest that is going to be 23 in a couple weeks. And I've got a youngest that is 17. And they are both gender non-conforming, and because they're so young, you just kind of go with the journey. And that's where I'm at. My journey started 10 years ago when my oldest came out at the age of 12, following their journey all along and supporting them all along the way and, getting involved as much as I can. And I love what Dr. Lulu's doing here. And thank you so much for coming, Chelsea. I can't wait to hear all about your story.
Well, thank you for having me. And I just want to say thank you for being moms that love your kids, for them just being who they are. I am so blessed to have both of my parents in my life that love me unconditionally. It wasn't an easy road at first. My transition started in 1991 when I was away at college. And it was a little journey, but when I say I am truly, truly blessed and honored to have the most amazing parents, not just parents, but siblings and family members that love me. They just love me for who I am. So I just want to say thank you to both of you for just loving your kids and loving the community.
Yes, indeed. You're getting so much love. Real Amore says, that's my sister queen. Someone that says,
Amore, that's my sister. I love you. Thank you for watching.
Yes. So everyone who is watching, please type your questions. We will answer as many of them as are appropriate. The show is still mine. If you go rogue, I'll go roguer. We do not play around here. Yes, my name is not Michelle, and I'm not married to Obama. If you go low, I go lower, honey. We don't play. But that said,
You don't give a fuck.
Oh no, we don't. You know, the show is about that. Well, Mama Beats who truly do not give a fuck. And yes, I know my publicist, she said, you need to tone down on the cuss. And I said, really? Me now? No.
It's real.
So let's go.
It's real.
It's real.
Sounds like my manager. That's what they love. They love authenticity. They love realness. And when you're your true, honest self, people see that. And when you're trying to be something that you're not, people see that as well.
People see that as well. As far as I'm concerned, the word fuck is like chicken. It's just a word. So moving along. So Miss Chelsea, do you want to tell the people how we met? How did we meet, you and I? Because I've been meeting some folks, y'all. I've been meeting some folks.
Clearly.
So I have to tell you, Dr. Lulu, we met at the trans conference a few weeks ago. Last month. Was it last month?
Yes, in
Washington, D.C. And when she walked in the room, there was just an energy that I loved about Dr. Lulu. And I was like, okay, there's somebody I need to talk to. And we just started talking. She talked about the podcast. And she was like, hey, you got to come on my podcast. And we didn't get a chance to talk about what we were going to do or meet up. We just talked for a few minutes. And then I left and went to see my Congress people and my senators, and she left and I didn't go back. Well, and then I was talking to my manager and I was like, oh, Dr. Lulu, she has a podcast, let me hit her up. I hit her up and I was like, hey, how are you? And here we are right now. And, I have to say, this is a big thing that I always tell people. What God has for you, he only has for you and nobody else. And I hit her up yesterday. And we were talking, and she said, well, Chelsea, I don't have an availability until February. And I said, okay, I'll wait. And then she turned around, she said, wait a minute, we have a cancellation. Can you come on at 3? I said, well, I'm going to be at Pride, Black Urban Pride in Boston. I said, this is my first appearance, so let me go to that. She said, well, how about 7? I said, we can do 7. And here I am. I went to Pride, came home, cooked for my boys, and here I am.
I love that. And so for those of you who do not know, one of the things I do want to tell anybody who's listening, just kind of a side note, if there's something that God has put in your heart, if there's anything that the universe has put in your heart, honestly, I want you to do it. Just do it. Just get out of your way, get out of your own way and do it. Because you never, ever know. Like we connected and I said, okay, talked about the podcast. And then we just kind of went our separate ways. But she followed up today. And then as luck would have it, or as the universe would have it, there was a way. And then just boom, just like that, she's on here. These connections, y'all know I'm always saying, oh, we need more Black trans women. We need more Black trans women on the show. And the universe is like, okay, let me give you a beauty queen. Let me see if you can handle that. And then there we are, right, Kimmy? So,
that's right.
Thank you all so much for just supporting us over the months, over the years, over the weeks, over the just ups and downs that we've gone through. Melissa is giving y'all some love over here. Says she loves, I guess, your story, I think. But networking is growth. Melissa says this is so good. So if y'all have any questions, please type the questions down. I'm going to start with my first question. Sure. What made you run for a beauty pageant? I mean, I know that trans is beautiful. I mean, oh my God, trans is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But a beauty pageant, I just wouldn't, I wouldn't think that. I know I won't because I'm 5'5". But what's your story? Why did you decide to run? And then you won. Oh my God.
So I'll tell you, I always tell people, I don't do shows. I am the show.
Oh.
But with that being said, that doesn't mean that better than anyone. When I say I'm the show, I come prepared on every level of life. For me, that is my show. I come prepared. Well, I did a few pageants years ago, and I was having people say midlife crisis. I just needed a change. I work in the medical field. I own my own medical company, but I was a director for 11 years for people with neurological diseases. And, advocacy starts in my home. it starts in my home. I wake up to it and I go to sleep to it, which we'll talk about a little later, but with my husband and his mental, I don't want to say issues, but his mental status, what he goes through. So that's where my disabilities start. And, I'm always giving to everyone. And I had nothing for myself. And I was losing myself. I was just falling into a depression. And I was like, I need something just for me, because I give so much of me. So I have been following this pageant, Mr. and Miss Trans USA. And I was like, I'm not seeing what I need to see out in the world of pageantry, which this pageant was about advocacy. And I wasn't really seeing us. And when I say us, people of color running in this pageant, there was a few. And I said, this is something I can do. I don't want to go do shows. I'm not looking to go work at the clubs every night or go do brunches, which I love my sisters who do that. And I praise them. But that's not my lane. My lane is the advocacy. And so I started following the pageant, signed up, and I ended up getting Miss Massachusetts. And, when I tell you the doors that I opened for myself with the help of the Lord, because I wasn't a showgirl, I wasn't out in that community. So I had to make my own way. And, I was 49 years old. And oh, yes, I was 49. And I said, something, I'm going to do this. And I did it. And when I say I did it, I did the damn thing. And my platform was to be visible for the invisible. But most people didn't realize the invisible was me. I was the invisible person that I was being visible for. And it felt great. And, I put a lot of energy into it. I met the most amazing, beautiful people in Massachusetts. And I want to give a shout out to Salem, Massachusetts. When I tell you they opened their doors to me, they love me. They're still loving me. I mean, when I was just there for Pride a few weeks ago, and people come up to me and say, I follow you. I'm like, you follow me? And they're like, I follow you. And thank you for just showing your regular life. A woman told me, I have to tell this story because people don't realize what marks you have, what you may do for a person's spirit. I posted an ice cream cone one night after a date with my boyfriend. And I said, what a good way to end a great date with the ice cream. And I posted an ice cream cone. And this woman came up to me and she said, I just want to thank you. You made me feel like a real person, that I can afford to go get an ice cream, that it was okay just to enjoy an ice cream. So it's little things like that that warms my heart and make me happy that I decided to become what people say a beauty queen. I just like to say an ambassador for God that just happens to be in the beauty world.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God, you put so much already, an ambassador for God in the beauty world. Like, listen, the first thing I wanted to say is we always say charity begins at home. I've never heard anybody say advocacy begins at home. And that is so true. Kimmy, what do you think?
I wasn't set out to be an advocate. That's not what I was planning to do. Always an ally. Don't get me wrong. Very different levels of commitment, very different levels of enthusiasm, very different levels of I just coming into the knowledge of the whole subject. I think it's a lot of work to be an advocate versus an ally,
Exactly.
So I think that's
Yeah, I love that. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Obviously, I want to talk a little bit more about the fact that both parents are affirming. This is something that I know that there's a story behind it. And I appreciate you even mentioning it, because as Kim and I would tell you, every time we talk about the fact that we have trans kids, people look at us with pity, like, oh, like we're suffering,
Or how do you do it? What do you mean? How do you love your kid? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly.
No, it's easy.
So tell us, what was it like for you when you were first obviously misgendered, misassigned the wrong gender at home at birth. Let me put it that way. And then growing up to realizing who you really are, and then posing the situation to your parents. I definitely want to know, because I know for me, I'm still trying to make reparation for all the damage I did with my own child. But just if you want to share, if you can share with us, how did that work?
Well, I'll say this first. I don't never feel like I was born wrong. I felt like I was born who I was supposed to be.
Hmm.
Thank
You
you.
know, it was a journey for me. And I'm happy with my journey because it made me stronger. It made me who I am sitting here today before you. So I never would want to say, oh, I was born the wrong way. You know, I just was born another way, and I am who I am. I've known my whole life. I can go back to as young as 2 years old, always knowing that I felt different. And I like to tell people, I'm not a woman. I'm a woman that happened to be trans. I'm a trans woman, and I am so happy being a trans woman. You know, that's just like we have white women, black women, Chinese women, fat women, skinny women, tall women, ugly women, pretty women. We're all beautiful in our own special way. As far as my parents, so here we're going to go into mental health. So this is going to be a little deep story here. I'm going to talk about the first time my mom saw me as Chelsea. I had just moved back from Guam with my first husband, who was the strongest man in Guam. He was a police officer, so I was in a relationship with somebody who was law enforcement, and I had a stepdaughter that lived with us. And I met him when I was 20, and he helped me. I had already started transition, but he helped me even more. And as we know, police officers, they're a little different. They're a different breed. They're a different breed, but you know, we were together, and I moved back to Florida from Guam, and we moved to Orlando, and my mom lived in Jacksonville, and my mom wanted to come visit me. And I was like, no, you can't come visit me. And she was like, why not? I said, I'll write you a letter, and I'll tell you why. And I wrote her this letter, and it's so funny. The day that the phone rang, I knew it was my mom. I just had this feeling. My mom's like, what is this? What do you mean you're a woman? And what is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Okay, you have to remember, this is the early 90s. This is in the 90s, so things are a lot different back then. Well, several months into my relationship, there were some issues between me and my ex. I tried to kill myself. No, and I tried to kill myself, and I took pills, and I ended up in the hospital. And he called my mom, and my mom made it from Jacksonville to Orlando. It seemed like it was 30 minutes, but she made it there. And the first time my mom ever saw me as a girl, I was in the hospital bed, and they were pumping pills out of me, and my mom was praying over me. And that's when I knew my mother loved me. Because if my mother didn't love me, my mother would have been over there praying over her child. And I knew there was acceptance, but just because she accepted me from that point, she accepted that her child was hurting. That's all my mother saw. And it came within time of her accepting and loving me 100%. And I'm so blessed that I had to take that journey with my mom. And it took, with my father, it took a moment. My brother passed away. So 12 years ago. And my dad called me, and he's like, are you coming home? And I said, well, Dad, if I come home, I'm coming home as me. I'm not trying to change for nobody. I can't. I have to be me. And my dad said, I've lost one child, and I've lost you long enough. I don't care. You're mine. Come home.
Oh, wow.
And I went home, and I'm so blessed. My dad, he calls me baby because he's older. You know, and I tell people all the time, they say, oh, I got misgender. I said, well, honey, you haven't met my parents. My mom will call me she, he. Oh, child, what's your name? And it's not that it's a disrespect. They're older, and they love me. And like my dad he'll say Chelsea, but he calls me Tracy. He calls me my sister, but he respects and loves me. And I am so blessed. I am so blessed to still have both my parents that one is in their 80s and one's in their 70s. So they can call me whatever they want. They can call me whatever they want.
That's so much love. So much love.
Yes.
I love that for you. I love that so much, Chelsea. What a beautiful story. And definitely like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I want to read some of the comments that we've had on Instagram. I was just so busy listening to you. I didn't look at the comments. So first of all, you had someone that said, not all trans girls want to be entertainers, and said, thank you for that. And then Jeremy, our child, said, the beautiful part of advocacy is that we don't plan on ever doing it. And I guess they were just trying to echo Kimmy. Sure. And then Real Amore said, trans women are just another kind of women. I mean, a woman, something like a trans woman is just another kind of woman. Like you said, Chinese woman, black woman, trans woman. Okay, I love that. And then Jeremy says, thank you for sharing that love. I'm so grateful that you're here. So again, this is so beautiful, sharing your story. This is what this platform, I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing this podcast. There's just so many unique stories that need to be shared. People need to see each other in each other's stories. And you have just, I mean, that whole advocacy begins at home. You had me there. I like the fact that you said something about you're an ambassador for God in the beauty space. Again, so God seems to be recurring a lot here. So let me ask you, how did you reconcile religion as it's practiced today, culture in the Black culture, urban culture, and your transness? How have you been able to find peace with it? Because you keep calling God. So that tells me that God plays a central role in your life. So how have you been able to reconcile all of that? And now let Kim ask some questions, because I don't want to monopolize this.
My page is full. I got to turn the page. So
do you want to answer that question? Well, God comes first and foremost in my life, because without him, there's nothing would be possible. I wouldn't be sitting here today without talking to you without him. He has guided me. He has stood with me when I was in my darkest hours. And I'm going to get emotional here.
Get emotional. Do it.
I'm going to tell you something, and I don't talk about this a lot, but I had a substance abuse problem. I was clean for almost 15 years. And last year, when I was doing Mr. and Miss Trans, I did an interview and it blew up. And it went so well that I started guessing myself and I started flipping out. And I knew I had this stuff in a bag that was in a storage unit, and I ended up doing it. And it was I'm glad it happened, because while I was doing it, I was praying to God, and I said, God, if you bring me out of this and keep guiding me, I promise you I'll do your work. And I came out of it, and I prayed during the whole time of doing this substance. And he never left me, and I literally went to sleep, woke up, and the doors started opening for me. And he showed me. He said, I will give you what you need. Now you need to give yourself what you need and do what you need to do for yourself. And so, yes, God plays a very big role in me. I was in the church my whole life. My grandmother was a very church-going woman, someone I got to spend time with who knew who I was before I knew who I was. And God has always been in my life. And, I've never thought about religion, trans, and I'm wrong, because at the end of the day, only he can judge me.
Yes.
Only he can judge me. And I know he didn't make me this way because I'm a demon or I'm evil. Because let me tell you something, I have one of the biggest hearts, and I'm one of the most giving people. And I feel that all God wants us to do as human beings is be kind to our fellow mankind.
Right.
That's all he wants, because we all go through the same thing: sickness, health, ups, downs, good, bad, broke, rich, divorced, married. We all go through it. I don't care who you are, Republican, Democrat, if you're Russian, you're American, you're Chinese, you're European, shit, it's universal. It's called life. Life is universal. Mm-hmm. And we always want to judge people for what they have or what they're doing instead of worrying about our own damn household.
Mm-hmm. I want to appreciate you.
Oh, you know something? There's a young lady that I want to call out that I would love for you all to have on your show. Her name is Miss Chastity Bowich. Chastity is a Black trans woman. She was at the conference. You didn't get to meet her. Chastity, this is a shout out to you, niece. She is a Black trans woman here in Massachusetts that broke down doors, kicked down barriers. When they told her no, she has still did it. Miss Chastity opened the first trans home here for homeless people, which I'm on the board, which is Trans Emergency Fund. So I just want to say, she says, Chelsea, so go Chelsea Page. I just want to say thank you, and I want to give her that shout out. And this is someone I would love for you to meet.
This is crazy because, believe it or not, Chastity Bowick just sent me a friend request on Facebook. So I just accepted the friend request. Love it. This is yes, Chastity, I just accepted your friend request. I am so excited. So really quickly, I want to take a moment and just tell y'all that the show is called the Moms for Trans Kids podcast. Usually it's Kimmy and I with a guest. Sometimes it's just Kimmy and I, but we're rolling anyway every single Sunday, usually at 3 p.m., but also sometimes at 7 p.m. Just join us. You will usually find us on Sunday, come rain or shine. We are normalizing conversations about parenting trans kids our way. I am obviously Black. Kim is of Persian ancestry. The other two co-mama beasts, one is Latinx and the other one is good old-fashioned white. This is how we roll, okay? Because all of us have been touched, all of our lives have been touched by trans people, and we just want to normalize what that is like. I want to give you flowers, Chelsea, because there's something you said earlier on about substance abuse problem. I want to just go back there really quickly. I've almost never met a trans person today, I didn't say all of them, but almost most of them have had a brush with substance abuse. I want us to remember the reason why people go there. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of trauma. It's societal rejection. It's parental rejection. So just remember, Chelsea says, even when she was 2 years old, like we always say, she knew who she was. Society prevents us from living authentically. We want people to please just allow people to live. And on that note, I want to take a moment of silence I was trying to find their name and I can't find it. It was Lania or something. I'm saying the wrong name. Lania, maybe Laya or something, is a white trans woman whose body was found yesterday. Life. I want to spend a minute, just 1 minute, to hold space for her memory. This is what we talk about on this show, that we want our trans children to live. I can't find the post I made about her. I was trying to find it while I was talking to you, while you were talking. So I want to just spend 1 minute of silence for her life and for the lives of all the trans people, period, all the queer people, period, who have just been cut short because of hatred. We're going to just spend 1 moment of silence. Thank you so much, everyone. Find that name. All right, welcome back. So her name is Liara Kaylee Sai, a trans woman with incredibly powerful energy who was found lifeless yesterday in Minnesota. She was actually part of the Trevor Project. So that really hit close to home. I want y'all to just know that this fight, I know a lot of times we say her name, say her name. I want us to stop having to say people's names. Just leave them the heck alone to grow old. I'm going to stop because I am, Kimmy.
So I want to take it back just for a minute. Because like I said, I have a page full of notes because you've been just dropping gems of quotes. But for one thing that really stuck with me is that you said you wanted to be visible for the invisible. I thought to myself, where do you get the courage? But then when I hear, your story about your parents and how your mom found out and, and then your brother, I'm so sorry for your loss. It puts it all into perspective. And I think that if parents can put that into perspective before any tragedies or trauma, if we can do it, kind of preemptively and just support our kids where they're at. Clearly, you can be Miss Trans Global USA one day. I mean,
and I don't want to cut you off, and I'm so glad you just said that because anybody could be a beauty queen. They like. First of all, let's stop saying beauty queen because beauty comes with inside.
Right.
So, we put so much emphasis on beauty on an
queen
outside beauty.
Queen
I'm going to tell you this. I know some of the prettiest people that are the most ugliest people in the world.
Inside.
Their insides are so rotten. And I pray for them. I pray for people like that because there's a hurt inside of them. But beauty comes from within, because at the end of the day, this could be taken away from me. Car accident, somebody throw something, cut me in my face. And, if I don't have this in here, how am I going to keep walking? How am I going to keep surviving? I tell people all the time, honey, I'm wig and makeup. My husband always said, you're the only person I know can go in the bathroom and come out as a different person. So yes, it's just a lot of strength. I have a lot of strength. And sometimes I'm going to tell you, and it comes from that little kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's people don't realize there's a lot of things that I have gone through in life from a young kid that a lot of trans people, but not just trans people, all people. And it's something being taken away from you at a young age. And you can read between the lines with that. And it can break you. It can make you. It did both to me. But then when I became Chelsea, I said, something? No one can take anything away from me. It empowered me when I became Chelsea. It empowered me to hold my head high and walk high. And I always tell people, I tell my mom, I tell everybody, I say, if I didn't become Chelsea, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would not be sitting here right now. I would be 6 feet under somewhere. And I know I would, because I don't think I had the strength that I have now as Chelsea Page Mosley. Because the Chelsea Page Mosley, honey, nobody can dock her down. Nobody can drag her. Been there, done that. So, yeah.
Listen, parents, just please listen to Chelsea. I mean, it's...
And, and I'm going to tell you this too. Parents is hard because sometimes parents are worried about what everybody else is going to say.
Say yes.
They're not worried about their child. They're worried about what the neighbors are going to say, what those people are going to say. And I always tell people, stop worrying about what other people are doing, because the same people you worried about are the same people who are doing the worst shit in the world behind closed doors. And those are the people you need to be careful of and watch out for. These people who scream the loudest and hate people for who they are. Why do you hate this person for me being me? I'm not infringing upon anybody. I'm not putting my life. If you don't like me, you don't like me. Period.
Thank you.
And if we worry about the wrong damn things instead of worrying about what's going on right in our own house. And that's why people don't realize so many things happen to children, because you're worried about what's going on three houses down, and you're not worried about what's going on in your own home.
Yeah. I found my voice back, y'all. I was so emotional. That was I never knew any of this. I never knew any of just the fact that most trans women, the statistics has it that most trans people, but trans women, and particularly Black trans women, do not live past 35.
Okay.
And I talk about Miss Ross, Angelica Ross, who I met in person in San Francisco last year. One of her interviews, I actually mentioned it in my book. She said her own mother, told her to unlive herself. The kinds of things that parents tell their children. Her mother said, if you don't kill yourself, I will kill myself. Like, we're talking, parents, please. There's so many things to worry about. Like, there's so many things that could happen to your child. Being trans is not one of the bad ones. And just for us to just take a moment, Black parents specifically, I'm talking to y'all right now, it's time for us to stop already being the ones always. How can you tell your child to unlive themselves? Who does that? And who does that?
That's not love. That's not love. It's completely the opposite.
You have to realize too, what is hurting in their life that they can't love their own child.
Yes.
Who hurt them?
Who hurt them? Hurt people. A child is the most innocent of all the people. Most children just want dinner and a warm bed at night. They just want.
That's it.
Anyway, talking about children, I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier on. You said everything you were doing was really to heal your inner child, and thank you for bringing inner child talk. Everybody's inner child has been hurt, some more than others, and that brings me to. I watched something that RuPaul was talking about on Instagram. It just came on my timeline today. RuPaul took a picture of his phone and showed us the picture. He said on his phone, the screensaver is his 5-year-old picture. He said he put that picture there to remind him of who is the why, who is the center of all the things that he does, who needs to be healed is that child, that 5-year-old child, that hurt child. Maybe we should all try to reconcile with our inner children. And actually, ironically, I have my kid's baby picture. I don't have my own baby picture on my phone, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go look for my own baby picture because I need to heal that girl too. I know, Kimmy, what do you think?
I love that. And you know what? Yes. One of the craziest, most emotional exercises I've ever done is when you told me to write a letter to my younger self. I was like, really? And you know me, I don't do my homework. So when I did my homework.
Kimmy will not do her homework for nothing.
Look, my ADHD.
Kimmy,
I'm medicated. I'm medicated now.
What we're talking about
is better.
When I had a group coaching program for parents, Kimmy was one of my clients. That's what she's talking about. And one of the homeworks I gave them was write a letter to your inner child. And I don't know what I said to do, but Kimmy, so just to make a connection. But yeah, but anyway,
try it. I dare you, because it's something that it's like if you warn your inner child of what you're going to go through, like and to be strong and to get through it. Don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. I was just sobbing, and I don't have. Honestly, I've had a very good life. I don't think I've had I've had a lot of trauma, but not like extensive, like childhood trauma. So if it's that spiritual, emotional, all that for me, I can only imagine how healing it can be for some folks.
Yes.
Very healing.
So Chelsea, you know I'm going to come back to you. So tell us, how do you heal your inner child, Chelsea?
You know
How do you?
something?
I know she was
By
traumatized.
by
I
by,
know
suc-
she has things to say. I know she
by,
has things to say.
by succeeding, by
Mm,
keep going. That's how I heal that inner child, by not disappointing that inner child as an adult and saying just because it happened, you've made it so it's better for you. It's all worth it. You're stronger. And like I said, I give praises to God every day, because without him, there's plenty of times I shouldn't have been here. I've
mm.
had put myself in all kinds of type of situations. And I like to tell people, because you were saying about, like, when I tell my story, I tell people I grew up very privileged. I'm from the South. I'm from Duval, Jacksonville, and I grew up on the right side of the tracks. I went to private schools my whole life. I didn't have my first Black friend until I was 17 years old. And, you know, even in college, everybody used to say that how rich and spoiled I was. I wasn't rich and spoiled. I mean, my parents did very well, but I was spoiled, and I have lived a good life, even as a trans woman, where a lot of trans women say, "Oh, I couldn't get a job, or I couldn't get this." I never faced those problems. I always had a job. I always had the husbands, long relationships, and so I think that inner child has driven me to be stronger and to succeed in life. And I want to go back to a thing where you said about I don't know who came up with that stupid quote about trans women don't live past 35, honey, because I know a lot of older, I'm going to say older, if y'all are out there watching, my elders, trans women. My trans mother, who is from Savannah, Georgia, who started transitioning in the late 50s, early 60s, who's 83 years old, Miss Loretta Lorraine. Baby, this woman, she's Hungarian and Puerto Rican, but a woman of color. And this woman is still strutting, still advocating in Los Angeles. And all her sisters that are elders, which I want to do a documentary about our elders.
Yes.
It's in the works. We're working on it.
Yes.
Yay.
And I don't know if did you get to meet Tiffany Ariakis? That was at the conference. She was the first Miss Continental, the first Miss Florida in the 70s. And she was at the conference, and she's a big advocate now. And when I see these women.
Yes. I met Miss Tiffany. Yes. She's coming on the show. In fact, I'm supposed to be working. Oh, thank you for reminding me. I need to text her. I'm supposed to be working with her, coming to her foundation to do some speaking engagement with some training. Oh my God. Yes, I met.
But when I see these women, and they were show girls, and a lot of girls were working girls. And my mother would tell you I was a working girl, but these stories that they tell you, and you want the young generations to know these are the pioneers. These are the ones that paved the way. And I'm so blessed that I had older women in my life to mold me and shape me and put me in place when I needed to be put in place. Because they saw things that my real mother didn't get to see. You know what I mean? Because they had already lived that lifestyle, so they mold me, and so I'm very blessed. Today we don't have that, because, and I'm going to say it, if you young kids out there watching, you don't know everything.
Oh.
You don't know everything, and you need to stop. You need to stop, listen, and learn, especially from your elders. But elders can learn from youngsters too. Because my grandmother always said, you have to give respect to get respect, no matter how old you are. Mm-hmm. And I could never understand what she was saying. But she used to show. You have to show young kids respect sometimes to receive the respect back from
them. Absolutely.
And
I'm talking about elderly trans people. I met Miss Major. I think it was at the trans
Amazing. She's
conference.
she's
Yes,
amazing.
Miss Major was like, I don't even know how.
Royalty, like
Miss
royalty at the conference.
She's from New York. She's from New York.
Yes.
Yes, my girlfriend Chastity that was on here was just riding with her in the New York parade. They honored Chastity, and Chastity was on the ride with Miss Major. Yes, it's on Facebook. So shout out again to you, Chastity.
That's awesome.
I want to take a moment to read what our son, our adopted trans son, Sam Castle, wrote. Sam says, my wife and I just did that, which is the letter to the inner child. We had a date day at the beach and wrote a letter to our inner child. It was the most empowering, liberating, and healing exercise ever. We owe it to ourselves to heal our inner child. Y'all, let me tell you, if you've now written a letter to your inner child, just do it. I usually write to my 9-year-old child because she's one that was sexually assaulted, trigger warning. But definitely, I've also written to my 11-year-old inner child who was going to high school. I've written to my 16-year-old who was telling her dad that she's bisexual. I've written to my 24-year-old who graduated from med school 2 years before that. I was trying to find herself. So I've written to different aspects of my younger inner child, but it's a beautiful thing. You can even write to your child, your inner child from yesterday. It doesn't have to be a 5-year-old child. I mean, the point is trying to heal the journey just by writing and just taking a moment to think about it. I think that's the thing that we are afraid. We don't want to stay inside.
I didn't want to write it. I don't know why I didn't want to write it, but I was really like, all right, I blank paper. And then just to be a smart ass, I was like, Dear Kimmy, because that's what you call me. And when I was that's what everybody else called me. And then I was like, now what? And I was like, well, you're in for a ride, and so I was just kind of like moping and doing it at the same time. And I started and I couldn't stop.
And then you picked up momentum. I want to take a moment and say maybe we should all do that as our going away present to ourselves for the month of July, or even today. For those of you who are listening, we have a lot of comments on Instagram. At one point I stopped reading them, but I want everyone who can hear us to take a moment and maybe write a letter to your inner child. And we're going to do the last 10 minutes and let our guest, Miss Chelsea, tell us if she was going to talk to her inner child, what words would she say to her inner child? But before she does that, the real Amore says, baby, I'm 24 years old, and that exercise made me get emotional every single time, with tears emoji. Thank you all so much, first of all, for interacting with us today. This was good. I knew this was going to be an amazing episode, and it was. We're not done yet, but I'm just kind of giving flowers to people. So Miss Chelsea, as we round the bend, oh my God, I knew the show was going to be amazing, but thank you so much for coming and sharing with us and arousing all these emotions. My take home was advocacy begins at home. I'm stealing it. I'm going to put it in my book. I'm going to quote you, of course. So you're going to be in my book. Everybody's in my book, but you're definitely going to be in my book. But tell us just what words would you say to your inner child if you had the opportunity to talk to her today? Because I know she's just like, what would you say to her?
I would tell her, honey, you're going to be a hot mess. You're going to be a hot, fabulous mess. But you know something? You're going to be strong. No matter what you go through, you're going to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you're going to keep going. Because with the help of the Lord, He gives you the strength that you need. And I think my inner child, I have to tell you, is a very strong child. A very strong child. And I talk to that child all the time. And especially when I'm talking to God, and I say, oh, God, I remember when I did this. Please forgive me for that. I didn't know no better. I was just acting out. And I would tell my inner child, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We went through the trials and tribulations of life. They're like, they knock you down, but you get up and you dust yourself off and you keep going. And to remember, always be true to yourself. Always going to be true to yourself. And that's why I'm sitting here today at your Miss Trans Global USA.
I love it.
Which I'm getting ready. I'm going to London in September, well, the end of August, to compete in London for Miss Global.
I was just going to ask you. I was just going to ask you, what else
Next
are you
step.
doing? How can we find you and follow you? All the things. So go ahead and just
Okay, my manager, I'm sure you.
Before you do that, let me take a moment and say to Kim, do you remember the words you said to your inner child, Kimmy?
I still have it written down. I can look at it.
Do you wanna
You're just gonna make me cry. Is that what you're doing, Hank?
No.
I'll look for it. Keep going. I'll look for it.
I just wanted to know because you brought it up and I just thought to
Yeah.
I think my inner child, if I had, which I'll have a chit chat with her on my way. One of the things I tell people on the dating site, because I've started going on the dating site. I've not dated nobody else. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm on the site. Is I tell them, I said, I look this good and I function this good because I finally made a connection with my inner child, and both of us are rooting every day for our future self. And I think I want people to realize that your inner child, all the levels of your inner children, they are rooting for you so much to move forward. Especially, I'm going to tell, I said, girl, did you know that you were pansexual? Like, what? You were thinking you were lesbian, then you thought it was bi now, pan. And to bring it home, yesterday I was at the birthday party, and this person sat next to me, and I told him about being pansexual, and he's gay, and he said, "What is pansexual?" And I told him, he said, "You know what? I think I'm pansexual." I said, "Really?" He said, I think I'm pansexual." I said, "Well, are you gonna officially own it?" He said, "Oh no, I'm afraid of what people will say." He said that.
No, this is the thing. I think there's too many labels now.
And then I said to him,
hold
up, let me finish. And I said to him, I said, that's exactly why I became a gender and sexuality coach, because of what you just said, being afraid of what people will say. I said, what about just being you? Like, if that's who you are, just be who you are. Like, it's like, but anyway, go ahead. Just go ahead.
I think we have too many labels. And that's like me and you were talking yesterday. And I opened up about something. You said, "Oh, you're poly." And I never used that word because, so I'll be open. When I decided to do pageants and come out, me and my husband, we would get together. We've been together 21 years, going on 22 years. And I'm going to go back to where, my husband suffers from social anxiety, agoraphobia, where there's times he can't go out the house. He doesn't do functions. And, he used to tell me, "Oh, go get you a boyfriend," and we're best friends. We're companions. We're ride or die to the end. But, once again, I was the invisible. After 21 years, and he said, "Oh, get you a boyfriend." I said, no, and 2 years ago, this month, I actually walked into my boyfriend's job, and we met, looked at each other, and I've been in this, I don't like to say a three-way relationship, because I have my husband's my husband and my boyfriend's my man. That's my man.
That's right. Hey,
whatever it is, man. That's you. You know what? That doesn't affect me at all. As long as you're healthy, I'm good.
I think, to play the devil's advocate for a second here, I think to each his own. I may not necessarily mind being able to label myself as pansexual because of the work that I do. But for the one who doesn't feel a need to label themselves, I also want to hold space for them. I think that's the beauty. Like, how you said, I'm not a woman, I'm a trans woman. That's your own owning that. Someone else is like, I'm not a trans woman, I'm a woman. I just want, in the spirit of inclusion, to say that it's okay for wherever you find yourself.
Yeah.
Go back to what Chelsea said. Just be kind to people. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to people. Don't be hating. And like Tabitha Brown would say, if you don't go messing up somebody else's life just because you're like, I don't know how she said it.
Exactly.
You have yourself a good day. And if you're not going to have a good day, don't go messing up somebody else's day. That's what she said,
That's
right.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. But I love the conversation. Thank you for coming and gracing our page today. It was amazing. I knew it was going to be fun, and I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Did I have so much fun? Of course I had much fun. But you know something, I have to show, you know, I'm a trans mother. I don't have kids, but I do have a kid. This is my baby. Say
Their name. What is their name?
So yeah,
this is Junior.
Yeah, earlier on, Chelsea said earlier on that, oh, I have to do this to my kids. So I said, oh, Chelsea, before we went live, I said, Chelsea, we're going to have to talk about your children because I want to know what is it like parenting kids. And then Chelsea brings the child. I'm like, wait, this is the kid? Oh, that is so cool.
Look,
what are you saying? Sorry.
Look, he's just like a toddler. Okay, go to daddy. He had to go to daddy. Listen, they have to go to doctors. I get up, I wash him every morning. I have to comb his hair, I have to feed him. I mean, that is my baby.
Absolutely.
So, but you know, I just want to say to you all, well, first I want to say to the people, thank you all for watching. I'm glad I can get to share my story, but I just want you all to remember, be kind to your neighbor, because you never know what someone is going through and what a kind word, what it may do for someone's spirit. And I just want to say, me personally, I love everyone. I know we're not going to all get along, but I love everyone because we're all children of God. And on that note, I want to say to you, beautiful ladies, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. I could go on another hour and keep talking, baby. You don't realize I got so much to talk about. But
I have so many questions still.
But my manager, I have to say this, so I have to give this because my manager's going to kill me. Please follow me on Instagram, Miss Trans Global USA. Miss Trans Global USA or Chelsea Page Moses. That's Page like a book, Moses in the Bible, that I will split you in the Red Sea, and Chelsea like Chelsea Clinton. Not Chelsea, but Chelsea. Yes, a lot of people love to call me other names other than what my name really is. And you can find me on Facebook, Miss Trans Global USA or Chelsea Page Moses. Please follow me, but make sure you follow my Miss Trans USA Global USA page, because the pageant is going to be coming up that I'm leaving for in the end of August. The pageant is the first week of September, but we will not find out who the winner is until next March on Trans Visibility Day, because this pageant is an internet pageant. So we will film everything, and they will send out different parts of the pageant. And then the last month they have the big pageant and show everything. But I'm going to need you all, my American people, my USA people, to come on my page and vote and follow me and support your girl, Miss Trans Global USA, Chelsea Page Moses.
Yes. And Sam is giving you some flowers back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Sam is our baby on the show. And actually, Real Miss Amora said that they want to come back because this particular episode was so much fun. I tell the guests that it's your energy. Kim and I just match your energy. Just whatever energy you come with, we'll try to match it. Thank you all so much for listening to us. The show is called Moms, the number 4 Trans Kids. For those of you who do not know yet, my book about your Black transgender child is about to drop. Finally, I'm on my last 4 chapters that I'm reviewing. I want to say thank you to Sam specifically for being the first trans person to read this book. Sam, thank you. Sam said, Dr. Lulu, your book is ready. I was like, really? He said, your book is ready. So Sam, I'm listening to you. I'm on my last 4 chapters that I'm reviewing, and then I'm going to do one more review. But I found 12 people who want to proofread the book. And let me see what else. Yeah. So thank you all so much for always listening to this podcast. Please find us on Instagram. Find us on not LinkedIn, YouTube. That's what I want to say. Find us on YouTube. It's called Moms, the number 4 Trans Kids. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Apple and Spotify, and share the show with somebody. Tell somebody about it. If you'd like to get the book when it drops, go to my Instagram, the Momatrician, MOMATRICIAN, and go to my bio. You will see the link there to sign up to be one of the first to know when the book drops. That's all I have to say. I don't know what Sam is talking junk over here.
Baby.
Sam, you know what? Sam, I'm going to mute you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm about to mute Sam. Boom. That's how you mute Sam. Sam says, baby, I'm an OG on these streets. Sam,
She's an OG.
you'll always be our baby.
Always.
But yes, thank you so much for coming. Kimmy, what do you want to say so we can sign out? Thank you.
You know what? Let's just support Chelsea. Let's get out there and subscribe and follow her journey, because it sounds amazing, and I can't wait to follow it along and vote if I need to vote, and your message of just loving each other. I think I can reiterate that as a wrap up. I think just love your neighbor. Know that they have their own life they're going through. Labels are not important. Being nice and kind to your humans are.
Yes, I love
That's it.
Yes, Kimmy, my voice of reason. Love it. Miss Chelsea, take us home. What one word do you want to say to the people? And then we'll just end it.
Love thyself.
Ooh, first.
Love thyself first.
Y'all. Yes, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today. The show is Moms, the number 4 trans kids. My name is Dr. Lulu, and we are out. Peace, love, and so bye. See you next Sunday. I'll be in Washington, D.C. having a good time. Finally on vacation. Bye.